6 p.m. exactly in Cairo time to look up at the news bulletin from Channel 2. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm Hanan Al-Khouli with you, and please let me first of all welcome my dear colleague Shuruk. Hello, Shuruk.
Thank you, Hanan. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start with the headlines right away. President Sisi and his Djibouti counterpart stressed commitment to upgrading bilateral and pan-Africa ties. Israeli strikes killed 20 Palestinians in Gaza as northern areas issue plea for help. And Israeli issues evacuation order for Lebanese eastern city of Baalbek, fighting continuing in Khayyam.
Welcome back. The news in full. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and his Djibouti counterpart Ismail Omar Guelleh stressed commitment to upgrading bilateral and pan-African ties. Over a phone call he made on Wednesday, the president asserted the deeply rooted historical ties between both countries and willingness to push forward joint cooperation, notably in economic fields, investment and trade.
As the Israeli... Okay, let's continue our news. Hanan.
Minister of Foreign Affairs, yes.
سجل هنا دعم مصر الكامل لجمهورية النيجر في مكافحة الإرهاب. كما تعلمون أن الوضع في منطقة الساحل الإفريقي الوضع هناك غير مستقر بشكل كامل، وهناك نشاط للجماعات الإرهابية، ولذلك مصر تدعم كافة دول منطقة الساحل وتدعم مؤسسات الدولة الوطنية في هذه المنطقة، وعلى استعداد وهي تقوم بالفعل بتقديم كل المساعدات، وإن كانت في مجالات المعدات أو التدريب
لتمكين. مصر هي أكبر قوة عسكرية في أفريقيا، فلديها ولديها خبرة كبيرة في مكافحة الإرهاب. فهذا الأمر لا يشمل فقط النيجر ولكن مجموعة الدول الموجودة في الساحل التي تواجه الإرهاب، لأن الإرهاب لا جنسية ولا بلاد له، فهو عالمي. دولة واحدة لا تكفي لمواجهة الإرهاب.
And moving on to the developments on the ground in Gaza and on Gaza Strip, as the Israeli aggression against Palestinians in the Gaza Strip continued for 390 days, at least 20 people were killed on Wednesday. Medics said that 8 people were killed in an Israeli strike in the Salatan area of Beit Laya in northern Gaza. Government said where
UN Secretary General sent a letter to Israeli Prime Minister protesting a new law banning the UN agency responsible for aiding Palestinian refugees. The letter said that there is no other alternative to the agency, which has been a lifeline during the Israeli genocide war in Gaza. The details.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres sent a letter to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu protesting a new law that could effectively cripple the UN agency responsible for aiding Palestinian refugees, the UNRWA. In the letter, Guterres said that the law could have devastating consequences for Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank because there is no reasonable alternative to UNRWA for providing the aid and assistance these peoples need. The UN chief argued that under international law, an occupying power must implement mechanisms for aiding the people living in that occupied territory. He added that if Israel is not in a position to meet such needs, it has an obligation to allow and facilitate the activities of the United Nations, including UNRWA and other humanitarian agencies, until the needs of Palestine refugees in the occupied Palestinian territory are met. The regulations approved by the Israeli parliament ban the UN agency from operating in Israel and occupied East Jerusalem and prevent it from communicating and coordinating with Israeli authorities, which could essentially end its work in Gaza and the occupied West Bank effective in 90 days. The ban has sparked international condemnation and raised questions about the legality of Israel's decision. Jordan, which hosts UNRWA offices, condemned the ban as a continuation of Israel's frantic efforts to assassinate the UN agency politically. Washington warned that it could withhold military assistance without improvements in humanitarian aid into Gaza. And British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said London was gravely concerned, and the French Foreign Ministry said it is very strongly regretting the law. Germany also warned it would effectively make UNRWA's work in Gaza, the West Bank and East Jerusalem impossible.
And Jordan called for an emergency meeting of the Arab League over the Israeli ban of the UNRWA, describing it as a continuation of Israel's frantic efforts to assassinate the UN agency politically. Secretary General Ahmad Abul-Ghaid also condemned the ban of the agency, and that provides vital services to more than 5.5 million Palestinian refugees.
Welcome back. Israeli pressed its offensive in Lebanon on Wednesday, ordering residents to evacuate Lebanon's eastern city of Baalbek. Israel's army issued a first evacuation order for Baalbek, where more than 10,000 people were sheltering in homes, schools, and churches. In South Lebanon, Hezbollah reported intense fighting with invading Israeli forces in or around the town of Khayyam. The town is the deepest Israeli troops have been reported to have penetrated into Lebanon since its ground offensive began a month ago. Israeli strikes on South Lebanon's Sarafand killed at least 10 people on Tuesday, most of them women and children.
Hezbollah's new leader Naim Qassem said that the group is recovering from a series of Israeli blows, including the killing of the predecessor Hassan Nasrallah with vacant positions filled with the planes put in place. In his first speech as Hezbollah's Secretary General, Qassem warned Israel it would pay a heavy price if it forces the remain in Lebanon, stressing his group was ready for a prolonged conflict. And meanwhile, Hezbollah said it launched a squadron of attack drones against an Israeli base south of Haifa. The Iranian-backed Lebanese group said it launched drones at the base in the port city of Haifa.
Welcome back. Still following with the news. A U.S. official said U.S. officials, including CIA Director William Burns and envoys Brett McGurk and Amos Hochstein, will visit Egypt and Israel on Thursday to discuss issues involving Iran, Lebanon, and Gaza. The official said on Wednesday that CENTCOM, or Commander General Eric Corella, also is in the region and will visit Israel. The effort comes as Washington seeks to de-escalate tension in the region.
And coming up to the latest development of the race to the White House, as Kamala Harris urged Americans to write the next chapter for their country and reject Donald Trump's choice and chaos and division, as she delivered a powerful closing argument to voters on Tuesday against the backdrop of the White House. The Democratic vice president warned against Trump's lust for unchecked power as she addressed a mass rally at the site where her Republican rival railed up for more and mob before the deadly the 6th of January 2021 assault on the U.S. Capitol. Her speech came exactly a week before Americans go to the poll in the most dramatic and divisive election of modern times. But while her speech began with the attack on Trump, she soon switched to a receipt of her detailed plans to help financially struggle middle-class Americans. Harris and Trump remain in a dead heat in the poll, with both trying to convince undecided voters in 7 key swing states.
Moving again to Egypt, where Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli held a meeting to follow up latest preparations for hosting the 12th World Urban Forum next month in Cairo. The meeting discussed coordination on all levels and among all parties and agencies concerned in order to ensure the success of the world event. More than 24,000 visitors from 120 states are expected to attend the WUF. 115 exhibitors will participate in the coinciding urban fair. More than 900 volunteers will take part in organizing the forum.
Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli witnessed the signing ceremony of a memorandum of understanding between the Administrative Capital Company for Urban Development, the Dubai Ports Company, and the General Authority for Investment and Free Zones to study the possibility of developing a public free zone at lands belonging to the Administrative Capital Company for Urban Development. According to the agreement, the public free zone will be established on a 500 Fiddan owned by the ACUD land, part of the company's overall 1,958 Fiddans allocated to develop industrial infrastructure projects. Located along the Cairo-Al Ain al-Sokhna road, the project's technical and economic studies will be conducted soon, paving the way for signing of the final contracts and the launch of the public free zone project.
Egypt's Boursa closed lower today amid sell-offs by foreign investment funds and cooperation again is purchased by local and Arab investors. The market capital of listed companies lost £20 billion to reach £2.183 trillion at the end of transaction that stood at £19 billion. The benchmark index EGX 30 fell 0.81% above the 30,371-point mark. The equal weighted index EGX 70 and EGX 100 were both down to 0.17 and 0.33 respectively.
And starting with the sports news, of course, with the stunning victory of Al Ahly, Egyptian and African champions Al Ahly clinched a 3-0 win over their Asian counterparts Al Ain of the United Arab Emirates in the inaugural FIFA Intercontinental Cup match that took place at Cairo International Stadium. The win handed Cairo's Giants an international title of the African Asian Pacific Cup. In from Red Devils missed 2 chances to get to the lead twice through Hussein Al Shahat and Wissam Abu Ali, thanks to the brilliant savings from the Emirati goalkeeper. In the 33rd minute, Wissam Abu Ali scored the first goal from the critical error of the Al Ain defender. Then Imam Ashur doubled the scoring for the team in the 56th minute and threw a penalty kick in the 89th minute. Mohamed Magdi Afsha confirmed Al Ahly's victory.
Well, that's...
Well, by this, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of our news bulletin for now. Many thanks for watching and many thanks, Shuru.
Thank you, Hanan. Thank you for watching.